Thanks everyone for coming out to the 2018 Drive-In Fall Festival, celebrating here in Kansas City, Kansas at the Boulevard Drive-In. Thanks everyone for coming from wherever you came from. We greatly appreciate your presence. We're also here to celebrate Wes Neal's 91st birthday. Yes. So thanks to everyone for coming out.
My name is John Shipp. I'm the professional guesser who handles the drive-in for Wes and Clarissa, Brian, and the whole group. And I've been in the business, I was telling a couple of you guys, since 1963. I started with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, so I have been around longer than most of you. Of course, with Wes here, I'm still a junior, but with most of you and everything, and this has been a fabulous business. I've been in distribution, exhibition, marketing, production. You won't believe the history of this town when it comes to moving image. It goes back to actually 120 years ago, and along the lines, you're going to have to stop me because I get excited about this stuff. But along the lines, I'll tell you just a few little things that we found out about Kansas City history here involving theaters. It's just fascinating, wonderful stuff. One of my fondest memories of the Twin Drive-In where we're going. Back in the 70s, I was an independent distributor, and I represented Crown and New World and Group One, all of the exploitation companies and some of the art companies. But this particular time of year, I was distributing a film called The Legend of Boggy Creek, which absolutely killed him. You know, a guy out of Louisiana made it. Great little, at the time, M or PG or 13, whatever they're called. Maybe not even rated back then. But that particular week, we were opening The Legend of Boggy Creek, and I also had an R-rated drive-in exploitation film that Jack Hill, I think, directed, that Frank Moreno was distributing, called The Swinging Cheerleaders. And I think I either put my own film student body or something else with it, but that was the second feature. The main feature was Invasion of the B-Girls. Has anyone ever heard of that? No. Google it, Invasion of the B-Girls. And we killed it. That weekend we did $20,000 on Boggy Creek. I don't remember the co-feature for that, but $20,000 on that side and $10,000 on the other. And that was at like $1.50 a head at the time. I mean, it was unbelievable. But that's my fondest memory of the Twin, because we made a whole lot of money that weekend. Jack Nicholson again in the 70s. He was a star, but not a huge star, but a star. And we were in to give him some kind of award for something. But I remember standing in the back of where you were supposed to walk through the tables to go up to the dais there to accept his Star of the Year award or whatever it was. He was wearing blue jeans, a white shirt, no tie, and a little sport coat. And he was standing there and getting ready to be introduced. And he was sweating, and he was so nervous, and he was just kind of fidgeting and looking around us and saying, what am I supposed to say up there? And someone said, you know, just tell everybody thanks for the award, you love Kansas City, and life is sweet, in so many words. So he kept fidgeting like that. They called his name. He started walking through that crowd. As he walked through there, by the time he reached the dais up there and picked up the mic and looked around, he was the the coolest guy in the world again, and just killed everybody, man. I forgot what he was talking about, but the metamorphosis between a guy with real butterflies in his stomach and this smooth Hollywood actor, Jack Nicholson, was just amazing. I've never forgotten it. Have more of the original film row buildings here in Kansas City than, as far as I know, any other film row in the country. Because most of them, as you know, were built just 1 or 2 stories, and with real thick walls. They couldn't be built any bigger because the film was so explosive and dangerous. You know, it had the fire problems. So you'll see a lot of the buildings that were built in the actually most of them in the 30s and 40s. But it is a whole film row. My name is John Shipp. I'm the film buyer for this illustrious drive-in for the last 30 years, as a matter of fact. Back Wes was just a teenage boy when I started. One of my favorite Wes Neal stories has to do with those of you who don't know this area. There's a creek that goes by called Turkey Creek, and it used to periodically flood. And when I say flood, I mean flood. I don't just mean a few inches of water on the floor. So this one particular night in the summertime, the lady who cleaned up the field, who picked the field after everything closed up, was named Ruby. And Ruby was out there at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, picking the field, and all of a sudden Turkey Creek started flooding. So she immediately, as it came over the field, she immediately went inside the concession stand. So while she was standing there, the water kept getting higher and higher and higher. So she crawled up on top of the concession stand, the glass stand right there. The water got over that, and she either sat on a chair or some type of an egg crate or something, because by the time the water stopped rising, her head was right up next to the ceiling, and the water was right up past her waist. Somehow or another, the telephone on the wall was still working, and she called Wes. Wes answered, and he said, I'll come get you. Somewhere or another, and I still don't know where, but he materialized a little bit later with a boat, and they took the boat over to the concession stand, and about that time the water started dropping enough so that Ruby splashed her way out there. So they grabbed a hold of Ruby to pull her into the boat, and she slipped back in the water. Okay, the second time they grabbed her, she slipped back in the water again. On the third try, they got her into the boat. What had happened was that coconut oil flowed to the top, and she was like a grease pig. And then someone asked her afterwards, said, well, weren't you just scared to death? And she said, no, I wasn't, because I knew Wes would come get me. She had that much power. That's my favorite best story. A lot of others that I can't tell in this company.
I'm Butch Rigby, and you know, it's so wonderful to see a lot of small theater runners in this tent. Many years ago, when I was a film nut and crazy about the film, I met John Schiff over 30 years ago, and he sort of brought me into the world of this theatrical side of things. I was convinced I was going to Hollywood and I was going to be a film director, and I went out there for a little while. I worked movie crews and decided I liked being behind a projector more than I liked being behind the camera. So I got to know Wes, and of course Wes has been in the theater business longer than I've been alive, believe it or not, and I'll be 60 next year, so I know. And believe me, I'm still a youngster in all the crowd, this big crowd here, but I'll tell you the story that I always loved, and of course there are many, but I've got a wonderful picture at home of Wes and I. It was probably around the 60th anniversary of running the theater. It was one beautiful summer night, and the sun shines behind it, or the sun had just set, and got a great picture of all of us here. And I thought how wonderful it was all these years that Wes and his children and grandchildren, Ryan, running this place. But many years ago, John and I get a call from Wes. He goes, Butch, got to talk to you about it. I want you to take over something. And I'm sitting there looking at John going, oh, John. I go, wow, I can't believe it. Boulevard Drive-In. Oh, we got the Screenland Theaters Drive-In. And so half my staff is ready to sell, French fries in a cart with girls in bikinis and doing all this stuff. And so we get here, and Wes goes, I want to show you something. And he showed me the monorail that he and Charlie Wheeler and everybody had been working on. And they really got pretty far down the road with the idea of connecting our two cities with the monorail. Well, I'll tell you what, it was a lot less sexy running a monorail than it was a drive-in. I didn't get to, but I'm just delighted that we didn't get to, because I'm delighted that so many years later I'm still standing here with the guy who runs the drive-in, and his sons, and his grandsons, and his family. And everybody in this room knows that these small independent theaters are about families and family-run businesses, and they will always be the best way to see a movie in this country. So, anyway, I'm glad that I am privileged to be a part of this wonderful Kansas City and really American community of these small and wonderful images on the motion picture screen. So,
Well, this is just awesome. I got to tell you, since I was a kid, there were 8 kids. I still think there were 9 of us. Mom still probably left one of us at a store someplace. I think they're probably still sitting there. They're cleaning up the store still. But Mom and Dad, with 8 kids, you had to find an inexpensive way to keep the kids occupied. And so we would get a cooler. Dad would buy pop for us. We'd go out to the movie theater. And to know that this survives, and it not just survives, it thrives. It's a great place for families. We come at least 3 times a year. We come out early. I get to play catch with my son. My kids will go down to the stream, just look at the stream now that it's tamed. And now we also get to meet the owner. And so Wes is always out there on his 4-wheeler, which just amazes me. But Wes has, Boulevard Drive-In is an interesting thing, because it's best of old school. It's best about family. It's best about customer service. It's best about this tradition with state-of-the-art technology. It doesn't get any better than that. So I just have to say, on behalf of all of us, thank you, Wes. This is an important institution to Kansas City, Kansas. I can't tell you, honestly, how important this is to Kansas City, Kansas. It brings people in from all over the metro area. You have a good experience here, an experience of family, an experience of friends, and we thank you for that.
You know, I appreciate all these lies this guy's talking about. But it's nice that they do appreciate the place here. And we do try real hard to make the best drive-in city, right? And we try to make it the best drive-in in the world. And I don't know how close we are to that, but I think we're up there pretty well.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I appreciate all of you guys coming tonight. We may not get many more of my birthday parties. Who knows?
9 more. He'll be tired. 9 more.
Gotta hit that 300.
You know, John gave me a plaque 5 years ago about my 60 years here. And it says my first 60 years. Evidently he thinks I'm going to be here another 60. But who knows? We'll try the best we can. And we'll try to give you all a good show. And we hope you all come back. And we have all these theater owners across the nation here. And we appreciate them being here. And it's been a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Wes. Happy birthday to you and many more.
I used to wish I could sing. Now I wish you guys could.
Yes, on behalf of your fellow driver operators, you're a vanguard in this industry. We learn from you. It's a pleasure to visit your site here, and it's a pleasure to visit everyone else here in the outstanding community. Kansas is very impressive. And thank you, and we hope you're around a lot longer.
Little sister. Yes, Wesley has been my brother for 73 years. He was gone from home before I can remember, even. He left in like 48. I was about 3 years old. He has done a lot of stuff for me. He even gave me a Ford Flex. That was his wife's, my dear sister-in-law, who died 3 years ago. And he gave it to me because we have 2 granddaughters and some other people. We just needed a car that we could carry people in, and we drove it here today. And it was so comfy and nice. And it's a 2010, but it's wonderful. I remember when when I was maybe 3 or 4, we lived in the far southeast Missouri, where the cotton is. And we lived on a farm out in the country, growing cotton. And Wesley would come from Kansas City and see us occasionally, almost always, in August or probably September, when the fair was going on in Crothersville. He would come for the fair because he knew if he didn't come, we wouldn't get to go. And so that one year when I was 3 or so, and he had a little boy who was little, maybe not even 1 yet. He goes to the fair, and he wins a big teddy bear for Stephen. And he comes home with it for Stephen to put guess what a 3-year-old does when she sees that bear for someone else? Well, he goes back to the fair. And it was knocking down 3 bottles, wasn't it? 5 bottles?
3 on the bottom, 2 on top, bowling balls.
For those of you who don't know, my brother was a fabulous athlete. He played basketball in high school. And early days of the drive-in, I remember we'd get together and play baseball. He would always organize those, softball. He'd organize those and we would go to them. But back to the teddy bear.
You still have that?
Yes. He went back to the fair, knocked those 5 bottles down again, and got me a brown bear. I think Stevens was blue. I still have that bear. He is rowdy because our younger son, who I don't see in here right now, he played with that bear. He and the bear were about the same size. And he called him Big. The name for that bear was, and I had to sew a vest on him because he was tearing up so much. But anyway, I'm so glad to be here and see Wesley at 91 years old. And I've told everybody tonight that our sister died last year at almost 99. So I expect Wes to be here at least 8 more years. To 99.
100 plus.
You're 100 years old.
Yeah, there it is.
But as you can see, I love my brother. He's like a father to me. He's old enough to be. He's 18 years older than him. He is old enough to be. And he was. He actually took me in at the age of 16 and I lived with him. He made sure I went to college. He was good. He was a good person.
Come on now. Come on now.
Anyway, thank you all for coming.
Okay, me and Wes have been friends for quite a while, and I'm going to tell you all something you don't really know about Wes. This is going to shock you. It shocked me when I found out. But Wes has got a 30-year-old girlfriend. I said to Wes, I said, man, Wes, how's it going with the 30-year-old girlfriend? And Wes says, it's going pretty good. You know, I get a little feisty, she gets a little feisty, and I says, Wes, I think you need to go to the doctor and check this out because, you know, somebody could get killed. So Wes went to the doctor. He comes back, and a week later I see Wes, and I say, Wes, how did it go with the doctor? And he says, dang, Tim, you were right. The doctor told me somebody could die. And I just said, if she dies, she dies.
You know, people tell all these lies about me. But I want to tell you the truth. Since Troy brought it up. Growing up on the farm, we were poor people. We were paupers. We had nothing. And we lived 3 miles from the store. And if we would buy something, we walked 3 miles to the store to buy it. And in the fall, we raised cotton, and everybody picked cotton in the fall. Everybody had a little money, but us, we didn't have any money. But there would be a tent show come to the store parking lot. It would cost a dime to get into the show. Well, I would walk up the 3 miles to the show and hope my sister or her boyfriend would give me a dime. Just one night I couldn't get a dime anywhere. So the guy with the tent store said, well, if you had a tent stake, I'd let you in. Well, I've been an old farm boy. I was too dumb to go around behind the tent and pull up a stake and get the end of the tent stake. So the guy wanted home, so I walked back home and got the tent stake and I went back and he let me in. We saw Nayoka of the Jungle. This was about probably 1940. And the video was on the screen and the sound was on a platter. And you had to synchronize the sound with the video. They did a pretty good job. So I wondered today what somebody would walk 12 miles for. Not 2 cents. But we really did have a hard time on the farm. And we got another drive-in theater owner here who was in the same position. He grew up poor. And now he runs the Twin Drive-In Theater. And he will never want for anything. Leroy, you want to say something?
Oh, come on, Leroy. Come on. Woo!
Leroy Shaker. Now Leroy started work for me here in 1965. You were 20? 21 years old. Well, he worked for me 2 years at the drive-in. Then went off on his own as assistant manager. And I worked at Bayer and he came to work at Bayer and we worked side by side at Bayer. And he worked there 5 years. And he's the only guy I ever seen who wouldn't let me outwork him. He won't let anybody outwork him. He's the hardest worker I've ever seen. Other than John. Anyway, after 5 years at Bayer, he told me, he says, Wes, I gotta quit. I'm not making any money. Gonna need $3,000. So I gave him $3,000. He went out and he bought him a house and he sold it, bought 2 houses, sold him, bought 4 houses. And how much property do you have now, Leroy? He has 400 acres in Arkansas with 100 cattle on it. He's probably a millionaire today. So, tell us something, Leroy.
He wants to $3,000 back.
He did give us the $3,000.
Well, mainly I got to meet my wife very. But mainly a happy birthday to you. And I had some stories to tell about both of us, so I thought we got better on temple.
I gotta tell you another story. This, I don't know how it ever happened, but see if you remember this, Leroy. There was a car coming down the driveway of the drive-in one night, and I said, Leroy, watch that car. You remember that? The car came in and drove right through the box office. First time that ever happened. It has never happened again. But Leroy took off after the car, and the car came down, turned, stopped right in front of me. I went up to him and told her, give me your car keys. He had it with the car keys. So I charged him double. And here came Leroy. He was going to the back, thought they were going, he come Leroy back. But a car driving through the gate like that has never happened before. As far as I know, never happened again. And I don't know why. What told me to tell him to watch that car?
Happy birthday.
Hey, this is a very pleasurable night. I'm sure glad all you guys came. I would like to see us do it again one day, but who knows?
Let's have some cake. Let's have some cake.
Thank you. Leroy Shaver from the Twin Drive-In Theater.
Hey, my name is Paul Javner, Stardust Drive-In Theater, Chautauqua, Wisconsin.
Jim Boyd, Vandale Drive-In Theater, Van Wert, Ohio.
Jeff Carls, Quasar Drive-In, Omaha, Nebraska.
Van Carroll from the Malta Drive-In in Malta, New York.
P. Edward Vogel, Benji's Drive-In Theater, Baltimore, Maryland.
Amy Dunricken, 112 Drive-In in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Justin West, the Galva Auto View Drive-In, Galva, Illinois.
My name is Marla Schaffner, and our drive-in is in Chautauqua, Wisconsin.
I'm with the Wadsworth Blue Sky Drive-In, and we also have Magic City, which is in Barberton, Ohio.
My name is Gaylord Kemp. I am from Alpha, Minnesota, but my drive-in is in Spirit Lake, Iowa, Superior 71 Drive-In.
I'm Eric. I work at Transit Drive-In Theater in Lockport. I'm one of their managers, and I'm a retired drive-in worker from the Delavan Drive-In near Buffalo, New York.
Bill Durbin, Wadsworth, Ohio, Blue Sky Drive-In.
And Bill Herbert, Wadsworth, Ohio, Blue Sky Drive-In.
I'm Steve Bloomer, my wife Cindy Bloomer, Skyview Drive-In, Belleville, Illinois.
David Cody, Mansfield, Connecticut, Mansfield Drive-In Theater.
Hi, we're Gary and Tina Price, and we're from the Franklin Drive-In in Franklin, Kentucky. I'm Dave Davis, the Spring Mill Drive-In in Ohio.
Brian Dale, Boulevard Drive-In.
Hi, I'm Clarissa Scott, Boulevard Drive-In, Kansas City.
Wes Neal, Kansas City, Kansas, Boulevard Drive-In.